to the Armory. I'm Nathan. Today I want to talk about what's in a name. Alright, a lot of anti-gunners are talking about weapons and using the scariest term possible because people who don't understand weapons just hear it and are scared. And they're trying to produce fear and terror. Alright, so let's look at a couple of weapons I have here on the table and let's discuss them. So the first one right here, this is a bolt-action rifle. I've gone and had the barrel replaced and everything replaced on it. It's very accurate. Put a lot of money and time into it. This can shoot a very long distance very accurately. This is a bench rest rifle setup. It is no good for hunting. It is only good for bench resting and shooting long distances. Now, the anti-gunners would look at this rifle and say, oh, that's a sniper rifle. And yes, it technically is very identical to a sniper rifle, except it's not used by the U.S. military. It's used by me for bench rest use. So this is not a sniper rifle, although it is almost identical in make, model, and function. This is a bench rest rifle. Alright, so let's look at something else they would call a sniper rifle. This right here, because I put a bipod on it and I put a big scope on it, this they would call a sniper rifle. But guess what it is? It's just a deer rifle. It's a $320 bolt-action 30-06 peapaw deer rifle with a bipod and a big scope on it. And that's all it is a deer rifle, and that's what I use it for, is deer hunting. So, again, these aren't sniper rifles, they're a bench rest rifle and deer rifle. Alright, so let's talk about what everyone's talking about, and that's this. This right here is the AR-15. The AR-15 is a clone of the military-style M4. Now, by clone I mean it has probably about 95% of the same parts as what the military uses. The main thing that's different in this rifle is one little thing that makes a massive difference, and that is when I take it off safety and click it on to semi-auto, I can pull the trigger once and fire one round. The military version of this rifle has another switch where you push the switch again another way, and so it has two selective fire positions. The second one is full auto. So they can squeeze the trigger and hold it down and empty all 30 rounds in about 5 seconds. I can pull the trigger 30 times, and that takes me, because I'm fast, maybe about 14 seconds. So again, that's a big difference in speed at which it can be fired. And again, the point of the military rifle and what it was designed for is when they kick a door in Iraq or Afghanistan, they just go and mow down all the bad guys. And that's what the bad guys do with their AK-47s. This rifle can't do that. If I kicked in the door and tried to shoot down 7 bad guys, I'd go pow, 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 and I'd probably get hit about that point because I couldn't get enough rounds on target fast enough to take out a bunch of armed people point blank. So this is not an assault rifle. This is referred to a lot of times as a semi-automatic sporting rifle. But again, I don't like that name either because it's way too long. So what I'm going to call this is my personal defense rifle, and that's what a lot of people on YouTube are calling it. A lot of YouTube channels I watch that are starting to call these defense rifles or personal defense rifles. And that actually makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm going to tell you why. Because in every war movie I watch, when they start yelling at the soldiers to take it off full auto and to put it on semi, the only time that happens is when they're cornered and trying to hold off bad guys. Watch Black Hawk Down, that's the Battle of Mogadishu and stuff. Those guys, 100 guys, or well not 100, but a bunch of guys were trapped in a building, had about 10,000 bad guys around them on the rooftops. They switched to semi-auto so they wouldn't burn up all their ammo, but they kept firing out on semi-auto when they needed to and kept the bad guys at bay. So when you switch to semi-auto on one of these rifles in the military, you are using it as a defensive rifle. When you put it on full auto and start going forward and charging in on top of people, that's when it's being used as an assault rifle. So as a civilian, I can really only use this as a defense rifle effectively. It can be used for assault against limited targets, but again, it's not very effective, not near as effective as the military version. Again, the crazy guy who went to the movie theater, he only killed, I think, 12 or so people, and he had one of these, and he fired 30 rounds out of it. Then he also fired, I think, 6 or 7 out of a shotgun, and then he went around shooting people with a pistol. He hit 70 people, yeah, but he only killed 12, so again, he's not a very good aim, and he wasn't aiming, I don't think. for most of those, and it just shows you the limitations of this type of weapon. When it's in the wrong hands, it is not an effective weapon. And even the M4 military version is not very effective unless it's at point blank range in unused hands who are not trained to use it. But again, once this rifle is given to someone who is a marksman, they can use it to great effect to defend themselves out to 100 to 200 yards. Again, it's not very effective at close range when it's semi-auto, but I can hold a lot of people off for a very long time. This is the most effective defense weapon pretty much out there that I've read about. If you are pinned down with a couple guys with these and you are outnumbered 10 to 1, this is your best choice. Okay, so again, this is my personal defense rifle, because if I am ever in a position where I am trying to hold a position, I'm outgunned by superior numbers who are not good shots, I can hold them off with this thing. So again, it's for defense, it's not for assault. I have other weapons that would be more defined as assault type. For instance, my semi-automatic 12 gauge that holds 10 shots, that is far better to kick a door in with and shoot at people with. This right here is far better to keep people at bay at distance with. So again, I hope this was informative for you. And again, if you're watching this, don't call it what they want you to call it, which is an assault weapon or an assault rifle. This right here is a personal defense rifle, and that's what it's used for commonly, sporting purposes, and people buy it to defend themselves and defend their homes with. And that's just the way it is. They're going to try to call it something it's not to elicit fear. Don't let them win. Again, this rifle here is for fun, and it's for defensive purposes only, and that's just the way it is. So, also, I would actually define this, give this one more name, and I give it the name modern musket. And the reason is this, is our forefathers who founded this country, the founding fathers, they intended us to have a weapon that was comparable to what the military had, so that we could come out and join up in a militia in case of national defense. And it was expected of every able-bodied man to be prepared to do so. So they always had to supply their own uniforms and their own arms when they went out to the militia to form up. And we've gotten away from that because we've gotten used to hiring people and having our own standing army. But again, if the need ever arose, we need to have people who are knowledgeable and skilled to use these, who could go and either join up or enlist with the military and carry this type of weapon, because this is the modern musket, and it is a personal defense rifle for the vast majority of Americans who have these. So, a lot of weapons can be called a lot of names, but it's what you use it for that defines it. It's not what it looks like that defines it. So, hope this was informative. As always, God bless America, and long live the Republic.